Hello everyone, this is Dipali Pathak here and today I am going to start the megasporogenesis. It is a part of second chapter class 12 sexual reproduction in flowering plant. In last lecture we have discussed about the microsporogenesis and today we are going to start about the megasporogenesis. Student, when we are going to talk about the angiospermic plant because the chapter is about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So flowering plants, it clears that the plant is from angiosperm group. So angiosperm are the group of plant which produce flower as a reproductive organ, and it's a modified shoot that I have already explained you. Angiosperm plants only produce flowers, and this flower is the reproductive organ which bears the organ for the production of reproductive units such as the male and female gamete. Now, I would like to share some basic concepts, some fact with you which will make the study convenient for you. That if we are studying about the sexual reproduction in plants, we have to study that plant attain three main phases in their life, that is the pre-fertilization, second fertilization, and third one is the post-fertilization. These are the three main phases which plant attain in their lifespan, and during that they attain the maturity and become capable for the reproduction. And its first step is pre-fertilization, in which the gametogenesis takes place. So how gamete formation takes place in plant? What is the basic concept behind that? First you have to know that, then we will study next topic. So pre-fertilization event states that gametogenesis will take place, and then pollination will take place. So what is there in this plant of angiosperm group that they can produce flower but other cannot? The fact for that is that the angiosperm plant is a sporophytic plant. It is sporophytic in nature, means angiosperm plant are able to produce spore cells which generate gametes, and then the sexual reproduction is possible. That is why these plants are called as sporophytic plants. Now, sporophytic plant produce some spore cells. That is why the formation of gamete is called as microsporogenesis or megasporogenesis for the male and female gamete respectively. So when sporophytic plant produce these gametes, where do they produce these gametes? They will produce gametes in their reproductive organ, which is pistil, and another one is stamen. So these two reproductive organ are there which bears sporogenous tissue, and through this sporogenous tissue they form the gamete. These spore cells are produced. Plant is producing spore cells which is diploid in nature. It is diploid in nature. After, when these cells undergo meiosis, they form gametes which are haploid in nature. So these cycles go on, and that we have to study. If the gametes are produced by stamen, then it is the male gamete and it is smaller in size. That is why it is called as microsporogenesis. If the gamete formation takes place in the pistil, which is the female reproductive organ, then it is megasporogenesis. Megasporogenesis takes place in the female reproductive organ which is called as pistil. Student, earlier I had taught you the structure of stamen and pistil. We have studied the detailed structure of anther also. Pistil which consists of three parts: stigma, which is the sticky tip, style, a long slender tube, and the last base, which is swollen, is called as ovary, which bears ovule in it. So these three units or four units are there: stigma, style, ovary and ovule. These units make a complete female reproductive organ which is called as pistil. Each unit is called as carpel unit. On the basis of this unit, the female reproductive organ may be monocarpellary, bicarpellary, like this we can term it. Then the male gametophyte is produced inside the ovary. Here you can see the base part is swollen, which is called as ovary. In this ovary, ovule is present. Ovule is a site in which the male gametophyte will produce. Means the sporophytic plant, the spore cells for female gametophyte is present inside the ovule. So first we have to study the detailed structure of an ovule. Then we will discuss about the male gamete. So here you can see in the diagram a detailed structure of ovule is there, which is anatropous, means its opening is at the base. So it is inverted. It is anatropous ovule in which a long tube-like structure which is called as funicle. Funicle, and at the base of funicle, placenta is there. Placenta is an organ which had to attach the ovule with the ovary. Here also you can see there is an attachment between the ovule and ovary. So placenta is the part which attach ovule with the ovary with the help of funicle. Now the point at which funicle attach with the main body of ovule, that is called as hilum. And it make a long ridge through which whole body of the ovule will remain attached, that is called as raphe. So this is the structure which help in the attachment of ovule in the ovary. Then you can see there are two leaf-like structure which surround the ovule. These are called as integuments. Outer and inner integuments. Two integuments are there. At the place of the origin, they are attached with each other, but just at the opposite end, they are not attached. They are not fused with each other, and where they do not in the contact with each other, one pore-like structure is remain. That and or that pore-like structure is called as micropyle. It is very important part for the ovule. Micropyle is there. Point just opposite at the micropyle, that is called as chalaza. So two more ends or more poles are there in the ovule, that is the chalaza and micropyle. These are the two important poles in an ovule. Rather than one more important part of the ovule, that is the nucellus. Nucellus is a part which is filled with thin-walled cells. These cells are the parenchymatous cells which are living in nature, and these cells are very important for the formation of the spores. So these spores cells are generated from the part of nucellus. That is why it is very important part. The male gametophyte, which is called as embryo sac, that is embedded in the nucellus, but it is formed after the meiosis in spore cells from these nucellus cells. So these were all about the structure of an ovule. On the basis of these two integuments, there are two important terms are used, that is unitegmic and bitegmic. If one integument is present around the ovule, then ovule is called as unitegmic. Two integuments. Sorry, this is one. Uni means one or single. Then bitegmic. If bitegmic integument is there, means two integuments surround the ovule. Sometimes it become tritegmic. Now you can understand tri means three. So three integuments are there. Tetra means four integuments are there. Sometimes the term is used as ategmic. Ategmic means no integument is there to surround the ovule. So these are some important terms concerned with the ovule. Now its structure may be different in different species. It may be orthotropous. Through this picture you can understand that if the micropylar end is upper, at the upper position, then the ovule structure is known as orthotropous. You can see here the micropyle is at upper end and just opposite it is chalazal end. In the next picture you can see that micropylar end is inverted. Then the ovule is called as anatropous, and the just opposite to the micropyle chalazal end is there. Then these are some other picture which show the different position of the ovule in the ovary. That is hemitropous, compylotropous, amphitropous and circinotropous, which complete a complete circle. So these are the different position of ovule in different species. So you can understand this is the structure of an ovule. In early stage, ovule consists of the integument and nucellus, micropylar end and chalazal end. In this way the two poles are there, the micropylar pole and chalazal pole. But embryo sac, which is a female gametophyte, this developed afterwards from the one set of this nucellus. As I told you, nucellus is filled with some living cells which are the parenchymatous in nature. These are living cells, thin-walled cells. These cells, when undergo the meiosis, they form the spores. So this was the detailed structure of ovule. We have studied about the structure and development of ovule. Now we have to study about the generation of female gametophyte, which is embryo sac. So here we will discuss about the generation of female gametophyte. Suppose this is the structure of an ovule in which we can see the integuments. This is the micropylar and this is nucellus, which is filled with many parenchymatous cell. Among these, one cell become very prominent. It become mature and very prominent, and it has dense cytoplasm and a prominent nucleus. All these cells are same, but one cell among these become very specific, very prominent. This cell is called as archisporial cell. Archisporial cell. This is the sporogenous tissue. When it divides periclinally like this, periclinally when these archisporial cell divide, it form two layer. Here it form two layer of the cell in this way. And this two layer of the cell is called as, outermost layer of it is called as primary parietal tissue, and inner layer of this cell is called as sporogenous tissue. Same thing we have studied in case of microsporogenesis, in which the sporogenous tissue was there in the polar sac, which is responsible for the formation of microspore mother cell. Here also the sporogenous tissue is there. When this sporogenous tissue undergo the meiosis, they form megaspore mother cell. These are the megaspore mother cell. In case of pollen grain, we call it pollen mother cell. But here we are talking about the megasporogenesis, then it is called as megaspore mother cell. So from one archisporial cell, 4 haploid cells are formed because it is undergoing the meiosis. Earlier it was diploid cell, and after the meiosis cell division, it formed 4 haploid megaspore mother cell. When these 4 cells are formed due to the meiosis, they form the gamete. From these 4 megaspore mother cells, which arrange in a linear pattern, here one by one they will arrange. So from these 4 cells, suppose this is the structure of an ovule, 2 integuments are there. So from the micropylar and this archisporial cells start to divide and they form a tetrad. In linear pattern, 4 haploid cells are formed, which are called microspore mother cells. When microspore mother cells are generated, they are in linear pattern, which is called as tetrad. Among these 4 cells, 3 upper cell will degenerate, and the lowermost cell at the micropylar end, this is chalazal end and this is the micropylar end. So this lowermost megaspore mother cell will become a functional megaspore. It will become a functional megaspore, which is haploid in nature. Now this megaspore is a female gametophyte, and after the mitosis cell division, it will convert into a gamete. This megaspore cell many times undergo the mitosis cell division. Student, you know when cell division starts, first the karyokinesis takes place and afterward the cytokinesis will take place. So here there is a nucleus of this megaspore cell which is haploid in nature. When first karyokinesis take place here, the nuclei will divide into two daughter nuclei. In this way, the two nucleated cell will be formed. Both the nucleus will move to each pole. Then afterward, the karyokinesis will continue till the 8 nucleated stage, but the cytokinesis will not take place. So 4 nuclei will be there at each pole. Among these, one nuclei will shift towards the center in this way, and three nucleus will remain at both the poles. After this 8 nucleated structure, the cell will start to form cell wall around these nucleus. Now 8 nucleated structure is there, and after the formation of cell wall, 7 cells are formed here. 3 cell at chalazal end, 3 at micropylar end, and 1 cell which consists of 2 nucleus at the center will be formed. In this way, the 7 cell but 8 nucleated structure will be formed. So this structure is called as 7 celled and 8 nucleated structure. This structure is called as embryo sac. Is a female gamete. Here the megaspore was haploid in nature. So after mitosis, it formed all the cells which are haploid in nature. This 7-celled and 8 nucleated structure is developed from a single cell, from a single megaspore. That is why it is called as monosporic development. This is monosporic development of female gametophyte. You can see the detailed structure of an embryo sac here, where the 3 nucleated structure is at the chalazal end and other 3 nucleated structure is there at the micropylar end and the central nucleus. There are specific name for this. 3 cell at the chalazal end, you can see here at the chalazal end, these are called as antipodals. These are antipodals. You can see here the cell wall is present around all the 3 nucleus. Then 2 beaks at the micropylar end are called as synergids. These synergids are there which are bigger and consist of single nucleus. In between them, a small functional female gamete is there. A small cell is there with 1 nucleus, that is called as egg. This is the female gamete. Egg is a functional gamete which is present in between the 2 synergids. Rather than 1 special structure is there near the synergids. These finger-like projections are there which are called as filiform apparatus. Filiform apparatus. And together, all these things, whole the structure is called as egg apparatus. At the center of this embryo sac, two nucleated structure is there, which is called as central nucleus, or these are also called as the polar nucleus or polar cell. This cell consists of two nucleus. In this way, an embryo sac is formed in the ovule, which is the functional female gametophyte. In these embryo sac, only the gamete is an egg. So this is the detailed structure and development of megaspore. Whole the process is called as megasporogenesis because the female gamete is called as megaspore. That is why the process is known as megasporogenesis. So student, once again we will revise the topic. The sporogenous tissue is present in the angiosperm plant. Plant is sporophytic. This sporophytic plant produces spore cells in the reproductive organ, which is a flower. In flower, the female reproductive organ was stamen, in which the megasporogenesis takes place, and in pistil, the megasporogenesis takes place. For megasporogenesis, we have discussed the detailed structure of an ovary, in which ovule is present. Ovule is attached with the structure placenta. With placenta, when ovule attached with ovary, one stalk is there which help in it, that is called as funicle. Point at which funicle attached with the ovule, that is called as hilum. The ridge formed due to this attachment, that is called as raphe. This is the structure, main body of the ovule, in which two outer covering is there, which are called as inner and outer integuments. Inner part of the ovule consists of the parenchymatous cells. The structure is called as nucellus, and embryo sac of female gametophyte is embedded in this nucellus. Among these nucellus cells, one archaeosporial cell developed, which periclinally divide and form sporogenous tissue. When this sporogenous tissue undergo the meiosis, they form a tetrad of megaspore, which is haploid in nature. Among these, 3 degenerate and 1 functional megaspore remain. When continuous karyokinesis of mitosis takes place in this megaspore, a functional gamete of female is produced, which is called as an egg, which is inside the embryo sac. So in this way, the embryo sac is formed, which is placed inside the nucellus of ovule. In next lecture, we will study about the pollination, pistil-pollen interaction, and different types of pollination, adaptation of plants for the pollination and towards the pollinators. Student, we have discussed about the pre-fertilization events. After pollination, the part will complete. So, till then keep revising.